that the permanent secretary runs the ministry. If the permanent secretary is running the ministry is out of order. Do you know that, Bahamians? There's nothing in the Constitution that gives permanent secretaries any power of any kind to run any ministry. They are supervisors. They ought to be taking instructions from the minister. Everything in that ministry starts with the minister and stops with the minister. Do you know that, Bahamians? Do you know what your Constitution says? The cabinet has what? Overall direction, that's one. Overall control, that's two. Of what? The government. That's a direct quote out of your Constitution, speaking about cabinet control. So when the Prime Minister appoints a particular minister to a cabinet position, the minister has overall direction, overall control of that particular ministry. Everything starts with the minister, ends with the minister, good and bad. But we don't seem to understand how this thing's supposed to go. There are some who say he's just supposed to make policy and leave it up to the permanent secretary to run the ministry. The Constitution doesn't say that kind of foolishness. That's why we're all mixed up. And so the thing is, the permanent secretary is a supervisor. Supervisors don't have no real power. I don't know of any supervisor having any managerial responsibility at all. There's a difference between the supervisor and the manager. The one that has control, overall direction, overall control in a ministry is the minister. That's according to the Constitution. Now, if they ain't running the thing right, then Bahamians, you got to deal with that. That's why we get all this mixed-up foolishness in this country. The minister is supposed to make policy. So what if he makes policy? But he has to be responsible. He got to take the good and the bad in that ministry. And a lot of us forget that now with the cabinet, they call it collective responsibility. Because the Constitution says the cabinet has overall direction, overall control of the government. All these government entities, all these government agencies come under the cabinet. That's in your Constitution, Bahamians. And because we aren't getting it right, we get all kind of mixed-up crap. Nonsense and foolishness being said to the Bahamian people. But the caller has good intentions. I would like to see the people come together on the ground constitutionally. It doesn't matter what party you belong to. Let me just say this. In choosing a parliamentary representative, the political party has absolutely no control whatsoever over the constituents in a given constituency to select or elect a parliamentary representative. Let me repeat that. A political party has absolutely no control over the constituents in a given constituency when it comes to choosing a parliamentary representative. See, the political party has to put a candidate in there. And we've had some weightless, no good, unfit, improper persons put up over the last 59 years since majority rule. They have been a discredit to this country and have not done their job as parliamentary representatives. They were party candidates or party personnel sitting in parliamentary seats. And it's still that way today, ain't nothing changed. And you, the electorate, don't seem to understand how serious that is. And they just take advantage of you. There are those who want to get a position representative seat in the House of Assembly to enrich themselves because they see, oh, I could get some contracts. I could have influence. I could have control. Yes, you have to elect persons to run your government. But what about the quality of the people you send to do your business? You don't know nothing about these people. Is a person homosexual? Is a person a lesbian? Is a person an adulterer? Is a person a fornicator? Is a person a murderer? Is a person a thief? Are you looking at those things? Does the particular person have false gods? Maybe they worship false gods. See, all of this is going to come out in them, you know. That wicked lifestyle spills right over into the public domain. That's why we have so many problems. Because you do not check the quality of the persons who put themselves up to run in your particular constituency. You know nothing about them. You just see them wear one color. And that's it. And somebody presents them. Now, there's something constituents can do. Because you may find that all of those who offer themselves in your particular constituency ain't worth nothing. They're absolutely weightless, empty, futile, waste of time. You got to know these things ahead of time, Bahamians. You cannot afford to make the mistake of putting people in authority who do not have your best interest at heart. For example, let's look at the last two elections, how the electorate has been voting. In fact, this has been so from 1968, where the Bahamian electorate has given a particular political party a massive landslide of seats. And from 1968 to 2025, we have seen a proliferation of problems, even though a particular party had the majority of seats in the Senate and in the House, and in, well, of course, they took over the cabinet completely to deal with the problems, to solve the problems of the people. We still got crime in Foxville, people killing one another in Foxville. But the people say they got a representative who's supposed to be looking out for the people. Are you going to wait until the murder comes on your doorstep? It may be too late to cry out then. The point is, there are some behavioral patterns we have to do. I can give you one or two. I can give you a couple of them. Number one, we have to repent of our wicked ways. That's what God requires of you. We are living some double standards. We're not honest, we're not truthful, we're not reliable, we're not dependable, we're not responsible. 51% or more of you in these constituencies must become righteous in your dealings one with another. Someone asked me the other day, how do you know who is righteous? But yet that same person who was talking on the air mentioned that the government is corrupt and said it 3 times. I said, how do you know the government is corrupt? And all of a sudden, everything went silent. You don't call the government corrupt and you can't prove it. You don't do them kind of things. Because he asked me, how do you know they're righteous? Well, the Bible tells you how to know. The Bible tells you about corrupt people too. And it also tells you about righteous people. So you got to listen to God if you want to know who is who. But he called the government corrupt 3 times. And when I asked him, how do you know they're corrupt? There was no answer. Amos, you don't behave like that. I've never called the government of the Bahamas corrupt on this radio station. I won't do that. But I'll tell you one thing what I will do. If I have hardcore evidence that the government of the Bahamas is violating the supreme law of the land, I can work with that. And we ought to help the government of the Bahamas because they may think they're doing good. They may not understand what they are doing, so it's the duty of the electorate. You don't elect these people. You give them all this power. They're messing up the place. You have to correct them. But you don't do that. You just sit right there and let things happen. And I notice that word corrupt is used very, very loosely by many callers that call the talk shows. Maybe they've heard other people say the government is corrupt. But I don't think it is fair to call the government of the Bahamas corrupt if you have no hardcore proof, if you have no hardcore evidence. And that's just Professor Sidney McGard of Walter Thompson. You might think differently. But I can tell you one thing. I will know whether they are violating the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I can prove it. If they are. No ifs, no ands, no buts about that. And I could cite example after example of example if they are violating the supreme law of the land. That's the way you do it, Bahamians. Don't use words that you hear some other people say and you ask, how do you know they're corrupt? And then all of a sudden you go quiet. You just don't say anything anymore. Well, I say, where did he go to? Because he asked me, how do you know they're righteous? Well, I could answer that today. I've answered it before. I just told you, 51% or more of you in a given constituency must become righteous in your dealings one with another, then that constituency is headed for progress. That's where it has to start, Bahamian. Because, see, the majority of you are not going to tolerate things that are not right, things that are not in your best interests, where you're being taken advantage of, the elderly in your community, the children in your community. There are things right on the ground where you are, and you got your eyes closed, and you don't see it. Come on, Bahamians. You've been living in this muck and mire for a long time. And you can't tell me whether in your own constituency, Professor, here are the major constituency problems that have been solved by our member of parliament in our constituency. And these are the clear-cut benefits we are now enjoying today as a result of those major constituency problems having been solved. I just told you earlier in the show, a man was slaughtered in Fox Hill last night. When Chanel Ferguson was there, Chanel Ferguson, you could walk anywhere in Portland Castle and be in Fox Hill, not Portland Castle. Well, it's safe in Portland Castle, let me say that. Relatively safe, okay? I'm not saying it's perfect now. You know, Professor lives in Centerville, and where he lives has to be safe, all right? We're working on that. But the point is, Chanel Ferguson said you could walk anytime, day or night in Fox Hill and be safe. The fellas passed right by, and I think the two of them were walking somewhere. In these Japanese cars, can't we not understand something is wrong? Some people are using the Japanese vehicle. There's so many of them on the island. What is the police going to do about these Japanese cars that are being used for criminal behavior? Why? I don't hear them talk about using any other car, but the Japanese cars are readily available for these personalities to commit criminal activity. I would have thought the government and the authorities would look at that and say, hey, wait a minute now. We got to curtail these vehicles coming into the country. But nothing has been done about that. If you know people are doing criminal activity with certain things, you have to curtail it and bring it to a stop. Now that's where the government of the Bahamas comes in. Now I don't know how effective local government is in those family islands. There are all kind of funny things happening in those islands. And let me speak to Grand Bahama before I bring my guest in, who faithfully comes out for with me online on Friday. I understand that the celebration key is called. That's what they call it. The man from the Chamber of Commerce say they have lost 90%, 80 to 90% of the foot traffic. Say none of them in that celebration key has come in other areas of Grand Bahama. Say not one. Grand Bahama, you need to call me about this, because you all had that big dancing thing the other day about Celebration Key. Like you all always get dropped in the bag, man, with a bunch of holes in it. You mean tell me you all ain't learned sense yet? You have these false hopes. Grand Bahama, you got to wake up, man. You just had that big dancing celebration and the port was with the government and the Chamber of Commerce was saying them wonderful things. Mr. Producer, I don't know if you could pull those tapes up. I know it's short notice, but if I could get one or two of them, I'll play that today. That's what they put before you, Bahamians. You forget too quickly. That's the problem. You don't remember what they did. Not that long. A couple of months down the road, maybe a couple of weeks down the road. And something else crops up. And you keep getting dropped in the bag full of holes, man. They all get like this. Just that big celebration, people dancing in the street saying how wonderful things can be. Why would a government allow a foreign entity to come into Grand Bahama to compete against Bahamian businesses? Why? And the woman told me yesterday when she went to Celebration Cake, you got Mexican people talking about they fixing conch salad. And they ain't tastes nothing like Bahamian food. What kind of crap is that? You don't even have Bahamian. And now here's another thing, right in my area. And I can tell the Ministry of Tourism, they got to do something about Queen's Staircase. You need to talk to these people. I even some strange tour guides up there now. They ain't no Bahamian. I thought that area was reserved for Bahamians. Now you got to tell the people, because they clog the railings in the Queen's Staircase. Everybody want to go up on the right side. Now young people like me, you're coming down, you go left. But they don't use the railing coming up. The railing on the left-hand side is right there. But everybody want to block up on the right side. And I trying to come down, and they blocking you in the way. Then people standing in against the railing. What kind of crap is this? There's no order on the steps, Bahamians. Makes it difficult for young people like me. Huh? The Princess Margaret ain't got no bed to put nobody in. You don't know that. So when you get as young as I am, you have to be cautious and careful. The railings are very strong. But you got people blocking the railings, man. And all want to come up on the right-hand side. Go to the left. In the Bahamas, we stay to the left. You got railings on both sides. But everybody want to crowd to the right side. Say, come on, man. What's wrong with our people? The Ministry of Tourism should tell the people you stay to the left on the Queen's Staircase as you come up and as you go down. As simple as that is, the tall guys, they know better. They just got the people block the railings. And they say, excuse me, please, I'd like to get down. See, simple things like that, they ain't got enough sense to organize themselves accordingly. So grabalicious for money. I have no problem with the tourists coming. Because they should be told, go to the left as you come up the railings. And you always, if you're coming down, you go on the left-hand side. If you're coming up, you go to the left-hand side. What's wrong with that? In the Bahamas, we stay to the left. not to the right. They need to keep the steps clean, you know. The young people like me, those steps are steep. They got the other part all blocked up, so we can't use that no more. But it's the kind of bad decisions they make that people only get as young as I am. This is what they do to you. This is Professor Sidney McArdle, Walter Thompson. I have my special guest. He's waiting patiently. We're going to go to a break. This is Professor Sidney McArdle, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. This is Open Line Friday. You know, I like constitutional things, right? So if you have any of that, give that to me today. And any other topic you want to discuss on Open Line Friday today. This is Professor Sidney McArdle, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. We'll be back after the break. Because you block up the other stairs, which would be easy for young people like myself to get down. You ain't opened it up yet. But you have all these people, and I have no problem with people wanting to visit Fort Gas. I ain't got no problem with that. But we who have been born there, lived there all our lives, I got to now hustle through all this crowd to get down where I have when I have to go to work. Does that make any sense? Tell your people to come up to the left. We stay on the left hand side in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You drive to the left. So if they're going to use the stairway, you come up on the left hand side, you go down on the left hand side. Now, why is that so difficult? I've mentioned that before on the show, because they're making it difficult for young people like myself. And if they want to stand in the middle of the stairway, it's fine, but do not block the railings. You got two strong railings on either side of the steps, and the steps are steep. You fall headlong, it could be disastrous. If you fall backward, it could be disastrous. And people need to understand the railings are there for a specific purpose. So what are you blocking the railings for? And the tour guides don't even tell their people, and maybe they don't know better, because I see some strangers up there now. Huh? Strangers. What happened to the Bahamian tour guides who used to be by the stairway? I see one or two of them there. So it look like an erosion of foreigners have taken over. That is not good. I don't like that. They're coming right into my territory doing foolishness and nonsense. So I'd like for the Ministry of Tourism, because that man, Mr. Cornish, I wanted to talk to him about this particular issue. The stupid man doesn't want to even speak to me about an issue that affects the area. That's the problem with these persons who are getting the public money every friggin' month. And that's only one problem we have up there, but we got some others. We're going to find a way how to deal with it. But you can't have people blocking the stairway where people want to go down and tell the tourists, stay to the left. But that side is never used. Everybody want to walk to the right side coming up. And I trying to get down, I stay left. So they make it very difficult for young people like myself to move. And the steps are steep, Bahamians. They're very steep going down, they're very steep coming up. So I hope someone in the Ministry of Tourism will get that to the tour guides and tell their people. The people don't know no better. They come from the United States, they think they should walk on the right-hand side. But you have to tell them. And you got, like I say, some strangers coming up there now who were never up there before, and they have some people with them say they're doing tours. Tell your people, stay hard to the left, going up and coming down. Brother Cartwright, welcome to Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
A pleasant good afternoon, Professor, and a pleasant good afternoon to the producer, J. Wiz, and a great good afternoon to the global audience internationally and locally. You know, Professor, I was at an event last night which was held by the parliamentary registrar, and it was amazing that the things that were said by the parliamentary registrar and those with some knowledge that I found that the biometrics that they're trying to implement was passed by the parliament, and you have the registrar, you could see that they're challenged and you're not comfortable with the system as it's implemented. And I said to the panel, I don't think Bahamians have a problem with the system. The problem is that with elections, and when you do a background check of implementing a system like that, because we know anyone who travels to the U.S. or most countries nowadays, they are using biometrics, but the problem people were saying was that those countries have basically took years before they implement it. But we are now trying to set a record more by implementing this less than a year. And basically, when you do the background check, it takes 2 to 4 years for a biometric system to be working properly and to have all of the so-called kinks. And what took me by surprise that one of the speakers was talking about electoral integrity and fraud. And I smiled because I was like, when have we had uh, electoral fraud or integrity of the elections? Because all of my life knowing the elections in the Bahamas is that the Bahamian people get up early in the morning, do what they have to do, go to the polls, and they take in line and they wait until their turn and they go in and they vote and they go home. You don't hear no ruckus and major disturbance, or you hear, oh, it was a massive fraud. By the end of the evening, by 1 o'clock, excuse me, we all know who is the new government. And so my thing was this: listen, we're not saying, in my opinion, I'm not saying that we should not use biometrics, but I'm saying is this: it's a system that you can things can go wrong if you do implement it properly. And I'm also to the point that where I made a suggestion that all government agencies should have a system like that installed, because why? We still do in a lot of areas. You see government have a lot of stuff like they move. Like for instance, the government moved one of their offices off of Bay Street across the street, which was the registrar, and they move it across the street from the Court of Appeals that's in the same building as Bank of the Bahamas. But when you go into the registrar and you look around and you notice in some of these offices, they have tons and tons and tons and tons of boxes.
That's correct.
So means that the information in those boxes can be compromised.
Yes, it can
So
be.
if you're going to implement a system, you should basically, as a government, start with your agencies. That's why I say it takes 2 to 4 years or even 5 years. That is where you can now start with that system, implementing it in a government agencies before you get to the parliament registrar.
Yes,
You already started with the passport office. Go and look at, because we still having challenges by the passport
of
office.
course.
So if you take your time and you do that in all of your government agencies, which will then eliminate persons from looking on files, persons from having information which they should not have. All of these provides better security. And then once the people know and see these things and working and they say, hey, we have the integrity here, we will now move on to another agency. And in time, people will then appreciate it, because, most of the people, they were saying, listen, election is around the corner. Why do you want to rush this? And there were no answers, because all it was basically said was basically the parliament passed it, and now they're passing it on to the parliamentary registrar to implement it. And I was like, no, the parliament should have basically waited, discussed with the public, hear the public's replies, and say to the parliament, listen, we're going to do a test before we pass this. We want you to listen, have town meetings where people can come in and give their critique. And then you tell us from what you gather, is this ready? We ready to go? Then we can go back to Parliament on the advice of the Parliament registrar and said, you know what? We will now take in consideration all of the commentary and replies that they got from town hall meetings, and we will implement this the following year after the election, right after January election. We will now be moving. So now whoever comes in will have 5 years, that first 2 years, to work on this program and implement it. So that when the next general election comes around, probably 2030, you don't have this headache no more, because why? The whole country would have understand it.
Let me ask you this. Was Harrison Thompson there?
Yes, and he was the parliament registrar.
And what did he specifically say?
I think he was basically challenged, because some of the personalities were there, questioned him on understanding the Constitution, whereby that persons might be or put onto the register who are non-citizens.
That's correct.
And they were asking questions in areas like, how do you, the parliamentary registrar, verify information that you are now getting from the passport office, where we've seen
Yes.
challenges
Yes.
to prove that those persons are citizens. He couldn't answer.
You couldn't answer it.
No, because there was no answer there there was no one there who could have said, okay, Mr. Thompson, I'll take that question and I will.
So was this meeting publicized?
Well, yeah, it was. It was.
How did they publicize?
They use the news media, the government radio station. And someone called me and said, hey, man, the government there. I said, okay. I'll check it out. And so the thing was that this is the second time they've had one.
See, here's the problem that I have with them. See, the government of the Bahamas does not provide widespread information. We got this radio station here. This radio station didn't carry any announcements on this important national issue. So I don't even, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, because I would have liked to be to that meeting, because I would have challenged Mr. Thompson right on the spot. But the point is, if you just give it to a couple of people, only a couple of people know about the flipping meeting you're having, it's not widespread. We have all these radio stations. All of them should be getting the notices and played on those radio stations,
Because
so the public could know.
this was the first one they had. I didn't attend it because the first one was at UB.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I basically got to, because someone told me it was on the radio, and then they called me and said, I said, man, I didn't know
Which
this."
radio they say it was on?
They said, radio station, man, they referring to ZNS. But I was like,
Well, ZNS is not only the only radio station.
but I said to myself that, when you're doing something, and here's my thing is this, is that I said to myself at that night, last night, I said, the government, I don't know which agent, I think that comes under national security when it comes to the
Yeah,
parliament.
that's true. That's
And I was
correct.
like, why didn't the Minister of National Security say it to ZNS and go to the other station? Hey, we're going to call a news conference and say, you know what? We are going to have this town hall meeting pertaining to biometrics. Because he said it was already passed in Parliament. And I was like, what they're asking you to do is that they should have done before they even passed it.
They passed it. Yeah, that's correct.
And
So they
that's it.
supposed to be having town meeting?
Well, I know they're gonna have another one because this one, what I went to last night,
That was
Public.
supposed to have been a town meeting?
it was a town meeting. They had over 100 people there. And so what I'm saying is that they now realize from the response from the public that the public is not happy and the public doesn't get the full grasp of it. And so they know they're gonna have to do more talk about it and stuff, because I would have loved to see, in my opinion, the Minister of National Security being there and to
Okay.
ask, and also to see all of the political machinery is there to say, okay, all of y'all who was in Parliament, when did y'all pass this? And how many of y'all voted for it?
For it, yeah.
And then explain to us. Because if you're telling us integrity, and we are saying to you, listen, the Bahamas has never had a massive voter fraud.
No.
We basically go to the polls that morning. By 5 o'clock, polls close. By 6 o'clock, everybody then gone home. There's only people there, the people who are waiting to count the votes. And then by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, is according to how time go. By midnight who won, who's the next administration. So when you're telling me integrity
And voter fraud.
yeah, you're making me feel that some shenanigans has been going on before.
So where's the evidence of that
but that's the point. And I said to them,
on a large scale?
and I said to them, we know we have never had a very large, no kind of
None whatsoever.
ever. So why? And then it came out whereby one of the participants said, well, they were advised, the governor of the Bahamas was advised by United Nations.
Oh, tell them to talking.
And I was like, oh my goodness, you cannot.
See, that's the
people-
problem.
Just because people advise you.
But it has nothing to do with the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
If they got trouble in Nicaragua, what the heck that to do with us?
And that's where the crowd was saying, voicing their opinion when they got up to speak, to say, listen, man, we ain't ready for this. Because one gentleman who was an elderly gentleman, and he said he hasn't had a passport in about almost 40 years.
Yes.
And so now these new passports, and then they also said something that was very unique, that if you don't want the parliamentary registrar to access your information from the passport office using biometrics, you don't have to consent to that. You can still use your paper voter's card. And he said, it'll take some time, but, and I was like, it don't take that hard to you to go in the pool and vote, go into the room, carry your card, show it, they check the card, ask questions, boom, you go to the, I said, and all I'm saying to myself is that, what is it this government is trying to say to the Beaming public?
That's a good question.
And I saw last night 2 members of the parliament from the government, but they didn't stay long because some of the questions people were asking, they got up and they left. And I was like, that was not a good thing. I would have loved
to
to
identify them.
One was the MP for that area, because it was held in St. Jean Street area, so that would have been
Jane Street, that's up.
Prince Charles. So
Prince
that's
Charles,
most likely
okay.
that would have been Miss Lisa Raman
Oh,
constituency,
Lisa Ramming, okay.
and probably was bordered with the Nassau Village constituency, because I saw
Village.
Mr. Jamal Strawn.
Oh, okay. Those. All right.
I said to myself, these 2 are sitting MPs. I would have loved them to stick around for the questioning session,
Questions from the people.
so you could have asked questions to them. I didn't see anyone from the F&M party, from our
Okay.
own parliament, and I didn't see the
No,
COIs.
idea.
I saw their leader,
Okay.
but I didn't see their representative in parliament. And people would say, why
So
you
the meeting
want
was held where? At what location?
at the Jane Street at the Baptist
Auditorium?
auditorium.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, in my mind, I would not want to question the leader of the COI because he's not a sitting member of parliament.
No, he's not.
So even if he has questions, which is good, but I wanted to hear from the sitting members of the parliament,
That's good.
where we could have questioned what was their beliefs into basically ratifying this system,
biomedical
and
system.
then let us know what all the details what came into their judgment and making it.
And making this decision.
And
yeah.
so
that's
that's where I was like,
yeah,
was a little bit disturbed, because I was like, wow, because you could have seen that the panel themselves were challenged with questions, because in my estimation, I don't think they knew the law, but the way I look at it, they knew statutes pertaining to the parliamentary voters registry.
okay.
But when it came down to the Constitution,
No, that's a whole lot of
yes, and you could have seen it, and I would have loved to see they would have had the chance to refer questions that they could not answer or understood to the sitting members of parliament. And this is why I would hope that when they do the next town hall meeting, that we would have someone from the members of the parliament, not just 1 or 2, more than 4, so that who basically you voted for this now,
yes.
to take questions
Yes.
from the general public instead of you getting up and leaving.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
And like I said again, I was very disturbed that the F&M party did not have none of their sitting members.
Yes.
And I did not see the sitting member for the COI.
Yes.
Because I would have loved him and then would have questioned him, and where he could have then answered questions.
Yes.
And so this is why I tell people that when Parliament, that's why you notice when I come on the show, I don't look at parties. I say Parliament.
Yes,
because all of them make decisions. Whatever that decision is made in Parliament is made as a collective. And one of the things that I would agitate more for with the parliamentary voting system that we have in-house is that we should go to a roll call voting so we can know,
so we'll know who is who
voted
who
for,
voted
and
who voted against.
So that then the press or any private citizens was to Question
No,
it.
question it. You have the record in front of you.
Ah,
Who voted for and who voted against?
this now, but all in favor, aye.
No,
All
that
in favor, nay. The
that
ayes
would make
have
no
it.
sense.
It doesn't tell you
No.
the mindset of the
Of the
individual.
individual, that's
See,
correct.
because it's a loud noise, it's a loud noise.
Yes.
But if I hear MP, Conway, would you? Yes, I voted for it.
Yeah.
It's on record.
Then we could question you on it.
And I should
Why
be
did
able
you
to
vote
defend
yes
why.
or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I hear the jingle by
Yeah, I
Mr.
hear it.
Davis.
I heard myself. Yeah. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. Payments, the lines are open 3260272, 8130-271. You have to know your constitution, Bahamians. This is the problem in our country. Statute law is totally different from constitutional law. And even statute law, they even ain't sure how to understand that. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
The Perfume Bar by Lurix is having a September to remember with a whopping 30% off selected fragrances, skincare, cosmetics, watches, jewelry, and so much more. Visit any of our locations: Bay and Parliament, Palmdale, Marathon Mall, and Old Fort Bay. September is something to remember when you shop at the Perfume Bar by Lurix.
Whether you're shopping for Mother's Day, Father's Day, back to school, or any occasion for that matter, you are sure to find exactly what you're looking for at the Brass and Leather Shops. Great products like handbags, wallets, backpacks, luggage, belts, shoes, and more are awaiting you. Brand names at the best quality and reasonable prices. Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guess, Travel Light, Herschel, and more. Shop any of our locations. Downtown Charlotte Street, Mall at Marathon, and also the Luggage Store at Palmdale. Be sure to shop Brass and Leather Shops. You'll be glad you
Call
did.
for savings now at John West Shoes. That's right, our fall sale is happening now. Up to 25% off most items in store, like selected Crocs, men's casual and dress shoes, women's heels and flats, and kids' shoes too. We're stocked to the roof with footwear just for you. Restrictions apply. So what are you waiting for? Come and let us put shoes on your feet today. Located behind the Walk-Up Wendy's. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at John West Shoes. Or call us at 603-SHOE. That's 603-7463.
At Audio Plus, we carry a large selection of DJ and audio products like speakers, mixers, microphones, car audio players, and much more. You can also find a wide selection of musical instruments like marching drums, Junkanoo drums in a wide variety of colors, trumpets, clarinets, trombones, Yamaha keyboards, and Fender guitars at special low prices. Visit Audio Plus on Soldier Road, located in the Caries Plaza. Open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Phone number 394-6668. Audio Plus, your #1 music store.
Wise Bahamian shoppers know when times are hard and things are tough, it's more sensible and convenient to shop at YCares Fashion Center. YCares has slash prices on brand name clothing and shoes by up to 50%, including academics, Crocs, polo, and hundreds of jeans and dicky pants. And as much as 70% on selected items. Choose from a large selection of beds, sheets, rugs, and towels, all at affordable prices. YCares in 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, Prince Charles, and East Street South near the Sir Charles Hotel. YCares, where you can afford to look good.
Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has launched an online auction website. Now you can browse, cast your bid, and win amazing items like some of these winners.
I just won this blender for $55 on BahamasLiquidation.com.
I won this suitcase set for $100 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
And now it's your turn. Simply grab your laptop or smart device and log on to BahamasLiquidation.com. Once you reach the main webpage, click on the My Account option where you can go to register. After filling in the necessary information, hit register and you're good to go. Happy bidding! Please have your credit card on hand, as the winning bidder is responsible to pay for the winning items within 30 minutes of the auction closing. The winner must collect the items in store within 24 hours after the auction is closed. Please note that a 3.5% service charge will be added to your winning bid amount at checkout.
I won this HP laptop for $120 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
I won this magic bullet for only $35 at BahamasLiquidation.com.
Bahamas Liquidation Auction Center,
where you say hello to goodbye.
From Cable Beach to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McGarter Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The lines are open 326-0272, 813-0271. Of course, the Patriots 242 is having a town meeting, I understand, this evening at 7 o'clock at the church right there, Shirley Street and Zion Baptist Church. I got to remember that name. I should remember that. Zion Baptist Church, Shirley and East Streets, Shirley Street and East Street, 7 p.m. this evening. We want to encourage all Bahamians. You want to learn about your Constitution, you got to be there, Bahamians, because we got a serious problem in this country where our leaders do not know the Constitution. That's a big problem. And of course, Brother Cartwright was at this meeting last night. I didn't know about that meeting. I would have been there had I known. But I don't know how they go about trying to inform the public, because we got all these radio stations. And each radio station should have been informed or given a clip about that town meeting. So if you just give it to one particular radio station, that's a problem. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? And so I understand the electricity was off at Princess Margaret Hospital on Wednesday. And some reports have come across my desk that there were people who might have been on these dialysis machines. I understand that some people were affected by it, and we need those persons. And let me just say this to the public. Those who were affected by it are the ones we need to hear from. What were your experiences? Not somebody else's experience now. What you were there and what happened to you. You on the machine stopped, and they're supposed to be cleaning your blood. Huh? What kind of experience did you get? That's what we need to hear from you, not what somebody say. Because what happened to those patients? I understood one particular patient. It was reported to me. This particular patient died. And that's not healthy at all. And of course, we heard from one patient who had been dealing with the service up there, and the news is not good, Bahamians. We have to question the authorities. We will try and see if we can get them on air, because I ain't talking to them behind no closed doors. You come publicly out in the open so that people could hear what Professor Thompson is saying, and they can hear what the particular personalities are saying, their side of the story. We want to hear from the patients. Plus, you want to hear from their side, the Public Hospital Authority, Princess Margaret Hospital. They got all kinds of authorities around here. That's the problem in this country. Too many people get in one another's way and knocking into one another, grabbing up a lot of the public money, but no service being performed. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, Professor Sidney Thompson, and to you, Mr. Cartwright.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ciala Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Just engage me for a few minutes. If you have any other callers, I ask them, please give me 5 minutes.
Go ahead, my brother.
Because I know people talk about the constitutionality, but we most importantly right now, we're talking about processes, and we're talking about a digital process to be exact. First of all, there is no laws, there's no current law in the Bahamas that explicitly protects your biometric data. In fact, they're trying to table a bill that they just tabled for a new update to the data protection law from 2003. And that does not protect your data in the way it should. It doesn't give you sovereignty or autonomy over the data you have. It doesn't tell you where data will be. It doesn't mandate where data is going to be stored. It doesn't mandate levels of access. It doesn't mandate what they call chain of custody or trail to be attached so you can know when other people do your data. You are surrendering yourself. This is not where you're giving your name and a signature. You are rendering the essence of who you are when you surrender biometric data, including your DNA.
Okay.
This data, it could be worth billions of dollars if there's no protection and they get to exchange it and take it out of the Bahamas or let companies use it or whatever. There is no law to protect anybody from exploiting this data.
Okay.
Okay.
See, Alan,
yes.
before you go, I'm glad you brought that point up because that was one of the questions someone asked at the town hall meeting last night. And the reply was, there is someone here locally dealing with the data management, but it was brought forward that the company that oversees the biometric was a non-Bahamian company. And the person was like, how can that my stuff be in our control if it is not controlled by the Bahamian? And there was no answer.
No, because there's no answer. You're saying that America, with its trillions and billions of dollars in technology, is facing this issue with the custodian of data, with TikTok and other different things.
Yes.
We have no punishment. Literally speaking, this new bill has some punishment. Let's say, I don't know what it is. Let's say it's $500,000. But can you imagine that I have the Bahamian data and I violate the law and exploit the data for $1 billion, and my greatest fine is $500,000?
I don't think it is that high. Because I think it might have been 10,000.
No, I'm saying let's put it at 500,000.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you, give me that data, I'll violate it 2 or 3 times a year.
I would.
Because I will walk away with $1 billion and have to pay. See, let me tell people what $1 billion is, right? 500. If we treat $1 million as 1 year, $500,000 would be a half a year. But if we treat $1 million as a year, and I can make 1, 2, or 3 billion. $1 billion. If $1 million is a year, $1 billion is 1,000 years.
Yes.
So I would make 1,000 years of profit, and you'll fine me half a day.
Yes.
Okay. See, so these are things. This is why you see people like Google and Facebook around the country getting fined in the tunes of billions of dollars, because it puts a punitive aspect of it that you will pay not only for the level of what you violated, but you will pay a punitive damage and more to the detriment of your company. Yeah. We don't have those type of laws in the 21st century, and we're asking now 400,000 citizens, because this doesn't stop at voting, 400,000 citizens. But let me talk to the digitization of contaminated data. We don't have to accuse the government of compromise. The compromise has been made. The accusation of compromising has been made by the U.S. government and others by virtue of people getting indicted for being in possession of our passports, and we've transferred out directors and other people who have been implicated in providing fraudulent documents in the U.S. and other places. Okay, so that means if that's what they find, what is the potential of what's being in there already?
Yes.
Okay. And I want CID and others to come to me, because this is one of the arguments I'm going to make. I have the date and time when I sat in the front of a Registrar General who registered 20 birth certificates in the 1 hour I sat in front of them. I complained. There's nothing happened yet, right? But the date and the time. And I made sure I did some transactions so we could time stamp it to that occasion. And if that transaction can't be time stamped, that then tells me even more that we should not trust any of our birth records, because it's the birth records that gets you access to the voting and to other things. So no matter, you have to have multiple points of purification of data, because any one of them makes the data impure. So when we start talking about digitization of the Bahamas, it cannot be a one-off, like we say for passports, or we say for a voter's card, or for driver's license or NID. It has to be systems checking systems. So what I mean by that, you have hospital records that needs to be digitized, that will verify birth records that should have been also digitized, that will verify against school records that they say these people went to school, which will verify against driver's license, which will verify against NID, because we're talking about the sovereignty of a nation.
Yes.
Okay? This is not no garbage like we allow them to do. We need to move within the next 5 years to fixing the crisis of our country. You saw it in England, the first time since World War I, they're now asking for ID of individuals to do the exact thing I'm telling you to do right now. Because what it does, it allows for multiple checks on the purification of the data, because the computer has no friends. If it doesn't match 100%, if it matches 99.9%, the computer will reject it. And it will reject it for verification, manual verification, and multiple verification. And so all of these data, it cannot exist in a silo. They can communicate with others. They don't have to be shared. They could be in what is called a clean data room, right? Where you could share data between information, and the computers check against information, and the algorithm does so. We also need a law for the anonymization of data, so that you can have access to the data, but from a technological standpoint, it is anonymized, that it can't be contacted. So we don't have a policeman who decides to run your biometric data through the police checking point without a warrant, without a Supreme Court thing. So because you voluntarily give this data to vote, not for them to check if you committed a crime or if you did something. Yes. All of these things are protection. Do not let this government tell you that they are prepared for anything digital.
Yeah.
And the reason you will not hear MPs talk about this, because they have problems turning on their phones, not less using the data. Let me just give you an example of how data works, of how technology works. Because you have all these experts, computer experts, and they call themselves computer scientists and everything. But there's a hierarchy, and it's about a dozen levels. But I will just mention a few. You have the consumer. You go to the store, buy some software, and most of the time you're not even smart enough to install it, so you call somebody to install it. They install it. And let's say the software is supposed to connect to the printer, and they can't fix it. They then call somebody else at another level who can connect the computer to the printer, right? And then if that doesn't work, they call someone else at another level that understands the languages, communications between the two. Then that person says, I don't know. So they call another person who will check the circuits and things off those devices. These are all levels of expertise.
Yes.
Then, if that doesn't work, now you're talking about actually went through all the computer, these expertise to the guy that actually built it. You're now talking about an intranet where computers now talk to the computers. Okay? Then you're now talking about an internet, an open thing. Now you're talking about a wide area network. Then you're talking about data certification. You don't take somebody and make them data commissioner because they say they were the police department or something. These are skill sets that we must also prepare people for, even though computer can marshal it. Yeah. You can't find me the individuals who are certified in data custody in the Bahamas. With all due respect, I'd love to see it. They may work for a company like the cloud companies like Rev and other people, but they are not Johnny-come-lately, nor do they work in isolation by themselves.
Yes.
There is maybe a dozen or two different dozen people that's in charge of data, and data itself has multiple levels of custody and protection.
Caller, yes. I hear all of this that you're saying, but see, the problem on this show is to get simple, basic, fundamental message to the average Bahamian. And I think a lot of things that you're saying right now is far over the head of the average person.
No, I don't. Can you pause, Professor?
Yeah, but hold on, caller. See, I'm listening to you very carefully. And I know that a lot of things you're saying right now to the public, a lot of people in the public, you may understand what you're saying. But that woman in Baintown with those 5 boys, the man in Foxville with his 6 daughters, the woman in Engleson with her 3 disabled children, they aren't even understanding anything that you're saying.
Professor, with all due respect, just give me a minute. I wouldn't expect them to understand me no more than I expect them to understand Dwayne Stan talking about ventricular science. However, his expertise says to them...
But put your caller on hold. Put the caller on hold, please. Mr. Ducer, put him on hold. See, I'm not going to let him go any further. You know why? All of this kind of technicality and this, that, and the next thing, I cannot allow that to go out like that because the average Bahamian doesn't understand a crap what he's saying. They just don't. And I know that. If he can simplify his message so it could reach the average person, fine. If he's not able to do that, I have to cut the conversation. Mr. Caller, go ahead, please. Can you do that?
Let's have a conversation, Professor Thompson.
No, but can you simplify what you're saying?
But Professor.
All right.
No, hold on, Cartwright.
I want to ask him a question because they were said, what I wanted to ask you.
Just let me finish my point, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what a conversation is. Professor, if Dr. Sands come in and speak about ventricular science, all he has to say from his expertise is that is garbage. Whether you understand or not, they can go to the government in the same capacity and demand that the government disprove what I said, whether they understand it or not.
Well, caller, I'm going to say is if the public does not understand, they can't ask anything.
No, the public has to, listen to me, my reputation in technology, I said this to them, I'm going to say this to the news media.
But caller, put the caller on hold, please. And I'm going to have to cut the call because the caller doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying. I'm not questioning the qualifications of the caller. I'm not interested in that. I am saying, as the host of this show, if the information that you're putting out there, the average person doesn't get it, they don't understand it, then I have to cut it. It's just as simple as that. I'm not going to allow it to go any further. Go ahead, Brother Carter.
I wanted to basically say something because I understand where he's going, and I wanted some clarification because the Parliamentary Registrar General said that you do not have to give consent.
Yes, I heard that.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to stick with using my old voter's card. But a lot of stuff that he was talking about, that was one of the problems that the Parliamentary Registrar panel could not confirm because the reason why, because exactly what he was saying was that he pointed holes in because there was a lady who was in charge of the voter registration.
Yes.
And a question was put forth, just like how he was getting into about the certain things, aspects, and she could not answer.
Yes.
And so I was like, wow, you're going into a new system. And like he said, this system you're about to use, because one of my questions was to the panel, you're looking at voters, you're looking at the passport office.
Yes.
And I was like, before you do all of that, shouldn't you basically, like he said, get all of this information and have it basically check and so you can verify, because right now we do have where certain aspects of the government agencies is in small pockets using a system that is still unbalanced. So they're using biometrics not fully. They're picking out bits and pieces, and it's hard.
All that does is confusion. I believe you have a call in line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there? Hey, Tanya. See, I can't allow people. Tanya Strong, just hold on, please. Hold on, Tanya. No, but Tanya Strong, can you stop a moment, please? Because I have to explain this to the public. I will not allow people to come on my show and say all kind of things, and I'm not questioning his flipping qualifications. I'm not interested in that. I am interested in making information simple, basic to the average Bahamian who doesn't understand all of this technology that they got out here. They're lost. So if you come on the air and you want to say something, please put it in simple, basic, fundamental language. Now, if you cannot do that, don't even make the call. Go ahead, Tanya.
I agree with you, Professor, 1,000%. He always continues to do that, as if he's always speaking down at the Bahamians rather than speaking to educate. If you cannot speak to the Bahamian people at the level that brings edification and knowledge and understanding, then you shouldn't want to contribute.
Yes.
Because these systems, the Bahamian who you're talking to, and I agree with you 1,000%. Me and Casey always used to say that about him. He never speaks where he is educating anyone, as if he's trying to always confuse people.
Yeah, because see, the way how he was speaking, see, I listened to him very carefully, you know. You can't fool the professor. The point is the public who I supposed to be talking to doesn't catch one single thing. It's way over their heads. I can't allow that on this radio station, and I won't allow. Well, while I'm the host of the show.
I agree with you 1,000%. That's your job. You're the chief of this job, and I get off the front that you bring it to life. That's what he does. He never speaks to the people. He always speaks at them. you know, and I agree with you. I even tell him that no. I told him, if you're going to speak so people can understand you. Stop
They
speaking
have to
about
understand.
people and then expect for them to just try to figure out what you're saying. I appreciate that, Professor. Continue to do a great job.
Thank you very much for your contribution. See,
Yes,
even with the Constitution, I know the people working for government don't understand the Constitution. All of them, and they don't understand nothing about the Constitution, so they're lost. And if they're lost, who's supposed to be working in these different agencies of government, what do you think about the people of this country? They can't ask no intelligent questions because they don't have any solid information to assist them. That's why they can't. My job is to make sure, like I said about the town meeting on the Constitution this evening at Zion Baptist Church, 7 o'clock, the people are going to get correct information on the Constitution. The people are going to be allowed to speak in that meeting. We will hear from them what they have to say. You got to hear from the people, man. But you can't keep talking down at people. That's not good, man. I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. Call you live on there. Go ahead, please.
Good day, Professor, and good day to Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, sir.
Allow me to lend my understanding as to what's going on. And I hope that everybody can exercise some equanimity, you know, some calmness and
What's
composure.
that you just said? Wait a minute, hold on. Look at that word you just used.
Equanimity.
What is
calmness, that? Calmness and composure in the difficult situation we are
Please
facing.
use, caller, let me just say this to you. Don't use that kind of word on my show, okay? The woman in Baintown don't even know what you're talking about.
I know. That's why I just break it down.
No, but no, just use simple, basic, fundamental language that woman in Baintown with those 5 boys, that man in Foxhill with 6 daughters, he tell me trying to find husbands with daughters.
Okay, Professor.
And the woman, hold on, put the call on hold, please. I don't know why these people don't listen, man. The woman in Baintown, the woman in Engliston with those 3 disabled children. We have got to speak to the Bahamian people in a language that they can understand. Simple, basic, fundamental language. That's what I do. Every day I come on this radio station. I don't want nobody using any funny words, and the people who understand the heck what you're talking about. Bring the call up, please. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, Professor. When T. Allen was speaking, he was generally saying that they're rushing into it because here it is, the government hasn't amassed information from various different segments of the agencies that this country deal with, and it was basically aligning with what Cartwright was saying, that what happened at that meeting last night. Now, last night, he said they had 2 representatives, Marathon and
Nassau Village.
Nassau Village. Now, and they ran away.
Yeah.
What I heard from you. They were not there, and they could not answer any of the questions. Okay. What we have to do is look at that is very disrespectful to the Bahamian public of what happened. What C. Allen was trying to say, in my estimation, was that they go and they appoint these people as saying the data czar or the data this and that, and they don't have the qualification. He said some 12 different levels of, you know, when you're talking about bringing in some sort of systems and you don't know how to connect it for the average person, because I also have a degree in computer science. But see, Professor, I think a lot of information that he was trying to get out, because before he would have gotten cut from this from speaking, it's a lot of information, and yes, him trying to explain it, and you are right too about trying to say, put it in simple language. That's why I said earlier, calmness and composure in a difficult situation. Sorry for using the word equanimity, but that's what equanimity means. We have to understand. We understand that ain't none of those cabinet ministers, the big time lawyers in government. Remember, they have Tia Moxley, who's in Grand Bahama. She's a lawyer also, right?
Who's that again?
Oh,
The
you mean
member
Miss
of
Ginger,
Parliament.
Ginger
Ginger
Moxley?
Moxley? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I think she might have because she used to work she used to work
It's
for
like
the port.
party, yeah.
So I don't know
Because-
exactly what her position was in the port.
Okay, well, there are 13 lawyers in this government, this PLP administration. 13.
What kind of
of
lawyers
them.
are they? Do you know?
I mean,
Are they
they're all kind of
constitutional
lawyers.
lawyers?
You got from. I'm talking about lawyers from the Prime Minister, Fred Mitchell.
No. You're not listening to my question, caller.
What
I
kind-
asked you, are they constitutional lawyers? Do you know?
I don't.
Oh, you're not sure. Okay, no problem. We'll move on.
Most of them just practice law, but they are lawyers.
But
Members
what kind
the
of law?
bar.
Hold
yeah,
on.
right.
What kind of law? Because you got all kind of different laws out there at the statute level.
Let's just say they're members of the Bar Association and they practice as lawyers. I can't qualify,
No, if you don't know whether they are not constitutional, that's fine. I can accept that. You can
Okay.
move on.
Okay, but now, why? Even the member of parliament for Lisa Rami, she's a lawyer. She was a policeman, and she's a lawyer. But as Cartwright said, and the other member left the meeting.
Yes,
Now,
he said that.
that's disingenuous of the government to have a meeting for the Bahamian public to attend. And as you said, Professor, did not ventilate it through all the media,
All the radio stations.
all,
yes.
all the radio stations and media companies for people to be there. But
Yes.
nonetheless, I'm going back to what it is with this biometric thing. And as C. Allen was saying, our information is very valuable.
Yes, it is.
No, it is.
For me to close out, right? What we as Bahamians, when it comes to constitutional rights, and we know that the Constitution is off because it was not passed on the Article 63(3), right? We have to
You're
have
talking
an
about the
appreciation.
Nationality Act, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
You're right.
all
Right. It was
Caller,
not
I
passed.
have to go to a break. I don't know if you want to hold
Yeah,
on.
no. Hello?
But I have to go to break because my
Let me
producer
just
is
finish.
being
Let me
very
just finish
patient
right.
with me.
Yeah, right now. All
Yeah.
I'm saying
No, I
is
can't.
the
No, I can't
payment-
let you go any further. I have to cut you. We're
They
gonna.
just-
No, we have to go to a break. This is Professor Sidney McGarta Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. The lines are open 326-0272-8130-271. We are going now to break. The lines are open and we will come back after the break. This is Professor Sidney McGarta Walter Thompson on Open Line Friday on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM.
Express yourself live.
is put under fire, and he has to do his job properly. And I just cannot tolerate information flowing through the airwaves and is not being understood by the Bahamian people. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm not questioning anybody's qualifications. I'm not interested in how well qualified you may be in a particular subject. That's fine. That's all well and good. But when you're going to speak publicly, then the information ought to be in simple, basic, fundamental language. The average person can get it. The fellow who is well educated, he also can understand. But basically, a lot of our people, and I know from years of experience, there are a lot of things, this biometrics thing, they don't understand what that is. I'm learning myself to try to understand what it is. And when the government of the Bahamas makes decisions without even giving the Bahamian people an opportunity for input, as has happened in this particular case, already passed in the House of Assembly, went to the Senate, passed through the Senate, and now signed into law. You can't come afterwards saying you will have town meetings on anything, because it's already set. That's like putting the cart before the horse. That doesn't make any sense, Bahamians. We have to get a national government that has the responsibility to consult with the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas before any major decisions are being made. You heard about the GIN project in Grand Bahama? That went belly up. The project in Maguana went belly up. And so we have had many such projects, even in New Providence here, where things went contrary. The road improvement project, which was supposed to be under Mr. Ingram, $100 million overrun. Do you understand how serious that is, Bahamian? We ain't got no explanation on that yet. But $100 million plus went out of the Treasury. Just like that. Who got the money? See, these are the kind of things that we have to look at. And I'm going to tell you that there have been laws passed in that house which are not constitutionally sound. And so we have to understand that things have to be simplified, made simple, so we can move forward and be able to get things done. So Bahamians, we have the lines open, 326-0272, 813-0271. And you can call in and present your views on any subject. We have less than 30 minutes, I believe my producer told me. So you got to move quickly. And let's get it in. But let me say this before the first call comes in. The point is, Bahamians, you've got to exercise caution and restraint. Know what is happening in your country. Know what is happening in your constituency. Talk to your people. Get on well with your people, because we're going to need those numbers. The country is in serious trouble, as I tell you today. And it takes the collective will of a people to bring change. Otherwise, we won't have any change. We'll just be running around, going nowhere. Endless discussion over what? But God's word says, ever learning and never coming to the knowledge of the truth. We've got to make some sound decisions and good judgments. That's what we need to do in this country. That's why I tell you the Holy Bible and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You put the two of them together, you have a solid foundation which cannot fail you. But if you keep listening to this one, that one, and the next one, no conclusions coming to, no solid conclusions. And you just simply keep going around in circles over and over and over again, as we have done from independence, Bahamians. We started out good. We wanted to walk according to God's way, building a nation, giving our people every available opportunity to make changes. But we sort of went off track. And now we have a whole host of problems in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So we have to deal with that. The lines are open 326-0272-813-0271. Mr. Producer, you have that information ready, or you haven't queued it up yet? Okay, all right, then let me know. Brother Cartwright.
Well, as with questioning, someone just texted me about explaining how, but the biometrics law, how does it violate the Constitution? Now, I would be frank and say to the texter, I went to that meeting last night to get some understanding, and I still left that meeting still not sure. That's why I would hope they would have another meeting so that I can attend and have hopefully the proper authorities there to explain to me how this biometric law helps me.
You said it has been passed. Has it been distributed? I mean, is it in writing now?
Well, according to
so we can get copies of it?
Well, according to the parliamentary registrar, the law has been passed. But now for me, like I said, I still want to do more in my private time and get more quality answers because I don't really understand it fully.
So is it in writing? Is it available in writing, the law that has been passed?
If the law has been passed, it will be gazetted.
It hasn't been gazetted?
No, any law that is passed will be gazetted.
So you're not sure whether this has been gazetted?
The law is passed.
Ah.
Parliament has passed that now.
Right.
Once Parliament passes it, it is gazetted. That is actual fact there.
Okay, all right.
Now, the understanding of it.
No, but that's a different kettle of fish altogether.
And that's where I want to get, because well,
it's the duty of the department to explain, because people will have questions on it. The thing is that, Mr. Producer, you have that information ready, or that's a caller. I'll call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Professor Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
And your guest, Mr. Cartwright. You're having an excellent show. I learned so much just listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. One or two thoughts about that biometric voting, which we talked about earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
In the week. Obviously, the government knows that there are some legal challenges in insisting that people participate. So they're saying you have an option. But I just saw a comment on your show. A very wise person said they believe if you keep the purple card, your vote will perhaps not be counted. But I want to say to Bahamian people, the system of governance that we've inherited does not allow for a government to tell us what to do on major matters of national management.
Yes, ma'am.
We tell them. In other words, there should have been a white paper, a green paper, town meetings ahead of passing a law.
Exactly.
What an insult. But we are clear on the reason for the insult, and it will not be tolerated. So some people are going to be made very ashamed when their motives are exposed.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you do not claim that you're trying to fix a system that was never broken. Until you got a bunch of people and gave them our documents, and now you expect us to let them vote. It won't happen. Because in our law, anyone that's gotten a passport in the last 18 months that cannot prove that they are born to Bahamian, that vote will be challenged. It will not be counted in the main, and we may be in court for a long time, but the point is we are not going to lose the Bahamas quietly and nicely like the good Christians you assume we are. Christians don't mean stupid.
No, it doesn't.
You just throw them out the temple, and that was
you got to throw them out.
But Thompson, I also wanted to say to your listeners, the town meeting this evening at Zion Baptist Church on East and Shirley Street, if you are a Bahamian, I ain't talking about someone without a passport, I mean a genuine Bahamian, it's very important that you show up and get counted and become a part of something that will allow us to collectively take our country back Yeah, it's down the road.
Yes,
we
it is.
can take it back and we can put it in gear, because when a government can't pick up the garbage, when it starts to telling you what to do, when you call the police and you can't get a phone answered, you know what you're looking at? Failed state. We got to do something fast.
No, I agree with you, Lady Russell.
So I thank you, Professor Thompson, and for the Cartwright was spot on, talking about what happened at the town meeting.
Yes.
Clearly, there are sufficient people working for this government who know the law. So they already know. You can't do it. You have no justification. You cannot prove that the new system will improve anything. And we know for a fact, I just saw Attorney Halson Moultrie on a show with Shanice Miller, the replay, where he talked about the fraud in the passport office. It's been going on for years. Now it's exacerbated because a couple 100,000 people have showed up here.
Yes.
And they expect us to say, well, okay, it's not okay. It won't be allowed. Heads will roll. Fraud is an immortal crime, and we will insist that people be prosecuted for this attempted fraud.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Brother Cartwright.
Okay. What I'm trying to get, because someone sent me the Parliamentary Election Amendment Bill 2025. Send me a copy of it. But I would say to the person who sent it to me is that last night from the Parliamentary Registrar, he was saying that it was passed. Now, I don't know. And so when I'm saying if it was passed, then it should be gazetted.
Gazetted, that's what you said, yes.
For me, I have to do some checking, and I will, in my spare time this afternoon, when I come from a family gathering, I will sit up all night and I will start to go through the bill, because I appreciate it, because I didn't have a copy of it.
Okay.
And so I will go through it and take my time and see.
What's the name of the bill if you...
It's the Parliamentary Election Amendment Bill 2025.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
And the person said they know it was tabled, but not debated. And so they're checking. So I will also do my checking. So
good.
But the Parliament Register General was saying that that's why I'm confused, and I'm very cautious in how I go about speaking about it, because
no, you should.
He said that it was passed.
Right.
And the caller saying to me now, he knew it was tabled.
It was tabled. That's a different thing altogether. Yeah. Okay. That's understandable. See, this is what I keep saying about agencies of the state, that the information has to be clear. We're not getting clarity from departments of the government on vital, important national issues. So we have to go and dig it up. That's why we try to get people to understand. For the media, it takes time, in particular for us in particular, having a small team, it takes a lot of time to go digging up, because you want to give accurate and precise information. We don't want to come to say one thing today, then tomorrow, or this afternoon, we got to say something else different. That doesn't make any sense. You confuse the Bahamian people. We cannot keep confusing the Bahamian people. We got enough problems as it is now. How much more pressure do you want on these people? The Constitution forbids frustrating the lives of the Bahamian people. Having 1 second of frustration is contrary to the Constitution. And we have all kind of frustration going on here. That's a violation of the Constitution. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to your guests, and good afternoon to the Bahamas. Professor, I watch it on TV. I watch it live on TV. They debated on TV. And Professor, guess what? It's the both sides. When Mr. Dobson side start up to say something, he said, "This your plan we doing." I watch it live. What am I name? Pentad say something. Yeah. He said, "This your plan." And that man, it was funny. He embarrassed me up to the opposition leader about it. He said, "This your plan." And I watch it, but I ain't what I call to say.
Yeah.
Professor, what I call to say, listen here. I go with Lady Russell.
Yeah.
But I going to go the spiritual way with Daniel chapter 5. All these politicians just be doing good, and just what they go do. touch the Lord things. And then this what? When you touch the Lord things, all them angels who's working to help you with things, everything you touch, go down the hill.
Go down the hill.
And listen here, I don't know what days be like a Nebuchadnezzar. I said before, what if be like a Nebuchadnezzar's son? Let's go play with God's stuff. Yeah. When you do good things, this is a Christian professor. Where's the Christian Council? The Christian Council man. I watch what he say. He said, listen here, when they legalize marijuana, we got some for them. Christian Council, where the thing is you got for them? They legalizing marijuana. I want you to come out. I want Lady Russell do it. Lady Russell, please go after him. You ain't gonna listen to me. He say, when they legalize marijuana, we got something for them. I ain't see it yet. Y'all have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. There's some things, see, as a Christian nation, there's some things you cannot accept. And we have to tell them plainly. There are certain lifestyles you cannot, the homosexual lifestyle, we cannot accept that. We cannot accept lesbianism. We cannot accept homosexuality. We cannot accept that kind of thing because God calls it an abomination. You can't have two females talking about they married. What kind of crap is that? Or two males talking about they're getting married. That is an abomination in the sight of God. And that ain't changing for nobody. When you check in the New Testament, it's the same thing. It's a corruptible practice that people have. And God says the only thing you could do with them is you got to kill them. They're worthy of death. It's just as simple as that. And we have to understand there are certain things you cannot accept if you're going to be a nation under God. Brother Cartwright, give your last word.
Well, my last word is right now, I will be probably going by Parliament this Monday, speak with the clerk to get some clarification on stuff that I was sent.
Yeah.
And I know that today, before I forget, we will be having Save the Bay with Mr. Joseph Dowell and his co-host Javon Hunt. And they will be having as a guest, I think, Matthias Johansson, a PhD assistant professor of marine biology and small island sustainability from the University of the Bahamas, to speak with them.
Yeah.
And later on, about at 5, the Met Office will be giving you a tropical system update.
Yes.
At 5. And any other information pertaining to the tropical system that is out there. Following the Met, you can also get some more information from the producer, Mr. J. Wiz, on the show later this afternoon.
Okay.
So, in all essence and everything else, the humans be safe. And do not be afraid to go and ask potential people in your community, especially those who are running for Parliament.
Yeah.
Questions about things that you don't understand, because see, my thing is this: you can't expect the few to go there and get the answers for the many.
That's right.
And so for me, when I'm not quite sure, that's why I go to certain things, is to learn and get answers, because it is something that is vitally important. Because like I always tell people that, and I've seen this over the couple of days I was at the government ministries and stuff.
I think you have to make it sick with the music.
And I saw whereby that the system that these governments are trying to implement. And I always said, if you want to move your country into another level, get personnel who understand and let them show you it and then implement it, and then you can be able to explain it.
Yes, okay, because we have to cut it right there. That means I got to cut it too. This is Professor Sidney McGarter Walter. Of course, Monday is Constitution Day. That's my day. This is Professor Sidney McGarter Walter Thompson. Bahamians, please have a safe weekend. Pray for our leaders. Our leaders have problems. Pray for the country. This is Professor Sidney McGarter Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Have a pleasant weekend.